questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Good evening and big up everyone. We're back for another live version of Transfer Weekly. These will continue until JC decides to get buck into gear. No, I'm only joking. He's obviously enjoying his time away with Ree, obviously, after their wedding. We just said, listen, although the honeymoon's been cancelled, still go and enjoy your marriage, which is important. But yeah, it is another episode, a very slow episode, I must say. It's been a slow week. It's been a very slow week. Well, Nicky, how's it going?
I'm doing all right because England lost yesterday. So I'm happy about that.
You are such a bitter Irishman, aren't you? You're
Oh,
a
yes.
very bitter Irishman.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But I'm
Dan,
good. Thank you.
How you doing?
Conversely, I'm very disappointed about yesterday, but I mean, to be fair, Spain were the better team, and they're the best team in the tournament. So I'm not going to quibble it too much. Even sadder though, I am back in the UK, and I was greeted with a nice bit of rain as soon as I got here. So yeah, but other than that, I'm all good. How are you?
No, I'm all right. To be fair, you kind of you don't have your hopes too high, do you? And stuff with England. But it's the whole aspect of you get to the final and you think, oh, they might do a thing, and then you realize no, they're going to do the same thing over and over again. And they played the same way they played all tournament. But just very quickly, we had 6 finalists yesterday. No, they won.
Incredibly impressive, isn't it?
No trophies. Obviously, commiserations to both England and Colombia. Yeah, I mean, I reckon if Munoz hadn't got himself sent off, he's got a bit of a temper, yes? That's like 2 red cards in like 2 games for Colombia or something. He does like hitting players. he's a loose cannon, he is. We love him, but he's a loose cannon. 100%. But you know what? Let's pick up Mark, because
definitely
I think probably England's player of the tournament. Shout for Pickford as well, because I think Pickford saved England on many occasions. Is that the end for Mark? I know we haven't really segued Mark in this, but is he gone?
See, until I see genuine, like, solid links to other clubs, like, and not just he's been looked at by La Liga clubs, by Serie A clubs. I need to see what clubs are linked with him. I won't say anything. I think for the moment he's still going to be red and blue.
So you done?
I think the thing is with the Euros, I do think Eze and Mark were likely to have the rumours come after the tournament's done or whenever England went out. And I think now that's happened, I think we're going to see that quite closely. I think Mark's got 2 years on his deal, so I think unless he signs a new deal, he will go, because we're not going to let him go for nothing or very, very little next year or nothing for the year after. So I do think he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, it will be a shame. We'd obviously have to get another centre back in. I know we've signed Chedi Riyad, but we're playing 3 at the back. You probably want 5 centre backs, and I know Kleiny's slotted in there from time to time. Holding can't stay fit, so if we could get anything for him, we be happy. But it'd be a big loss. I mean, I just want to say on Mark, like, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, gay, like, but we see this week in, week out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just even like some of the comments on and I don't take football Twitter serious at all, because everyone's entitled to opinions. Not every one of them makes sense. And the amount of people that were blaming Guehi for like the second goal is like, well, had the cross not come in the first place, and had Stones not stopped running, and if, like, come on, there's elements to the game beforehand, like, behave yourself. I think we should look at the fact that he was probably our best player in the tournament, like I said, along with Pickford, and I think they're hating on the fact that it's a Palace player that did it. You know, because obviously it'd be easy to find the John Stones as brilliant, or the Pickford who's regularly there, or the Harry Kanes and that. No, Mark Guehi, yes, the one that everyone doubted, was England's best player in the tournament. Just accept it, please, and let's move forward.
I do agree, to be honest. I think that's the problem when the majority of the people support Premier League teams. Like, there's so much tribalism, there's so much like, oh, this player plays for this team, so therefore they're not very good, etc. And it's trying to navigate that when they're all playing in the same team is very difficult.
No, this is it. Well, let's set up a few comments before we play the updates clip. Wonderfully recorded by both Nate and Dan. Big up Kenny. He was here last week, actually, the Bayern Munich fan. And big up to you. I hope you saw Elise's brace for France in their friendly against Dominican Republic. That second strike was incredible. Just things that we're going to miss, and obviously you're going to enjoy. Big up Luke. Big up Chairman. Hope the recovery's going well. Hope we do as well. I'm certainly not after England brought another final. England needs to find a way of being able to play on the front foot, because it's actually quite embarrassing that in every game they were almost defensive.
There's a way of doing that. You get rid of Southgate.
Yeah,
but you know, England, they'll find a way of not playing progressive football. You know how they are. Spain brought it home. Sorry, that was too easy. They were the best team in the tournament, in fairness. Where's the popcorn? I haven't had popcorn in a minute, you know. Oh, is there some in the kitchen? No, there isn't. It's finished. To be fair, it's the girls that eat more popcorn than I am at the moment. Carvajal locked up for Carvajal. Can I throw this out there? I know that we don't normally talk Ballon d'Or stuff, but I'm saying for me, Danny Carvajal should win the Ballon d'Or. League winner, Champions League winner, Europe winner. Just saying.
I don't think that's a bad shout, you know.
People are chucking in Vinicius and Bellingham. I'm just saying that Carvajal's been great.
Yeah.
Mark made team of the tournament, good and deservedly so. And watch people hate on that as well. Guehi not look good in the white of Madrid. Oh, please. As long as we get like 70 mil for him.
Yeah, we know if he goes to Madrid, they're gonna be like, bro, just put a number on it. We'll pay it. They don't give a shit.
He knew Southgate was going to play a low block versus a fast passing side like Spain. Southgate has no clue. The only time they actually turned up was after the equaliser, and that's for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, can't tell me Guehi would not look good in white. Oh, that's what Patrick was saying. Yeah, no, I understood what you were saying, Patrick. To be fair, in the initial comment, Southgate's the type of guy to eat ice cubes for breakfast. I wonder if there's any more AI memes of Southgate.
Oh, there will be. There will be. You just know they're getting loaded.
Yeah, agree. They were defensive the whole tournament. I don't get it. After we score, we sit back and then concede, attack, and put the pressure on it. It's mad. It is mad.
It is really, really ridiculous.
Reminds me of a certain manager. We've had. You can get rid of man, but you can't get rid of the idea.
I've been saying this at work in the pub to all my regulars when we've all been watching the football. That genuinely, it is like having Hodgson, and they just be like, "Oh no!" They've been given all these like stats about England. Be like, "No, you don't understand this. I have seen this brand of football for years. I have lived it. I have survived it. People do not understand."
You merely adopted. You merely adopted the idea. You were born with the idea, molded by it.
Trust me, it's crazy. Big up Marcy says maybe he did well for England. He did, you know. I think he found the final tough though, but I'm not gonna blame him for that. Like he when he did come into the side, he settled the midfield. I think, you know. And Lerma was brilliant, obviously for Colombia, but it means nothing if you don't win the trophy, man. If you don't win the big ears. Means nothing. Right. But anyway, we're here for Palace transfers, aren't we? So here's a few updates, courtesy of both Dan and Nate.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying Transfer Weekly. Just going to talk quickly about Jaden Philogene, Jezon Raksaki, and also Matthias Sule. So Philogene, very quickly, he's already moved to Villa now, it's official. About 13-14 million, because they also had a 30% sell-on fee. So it's decent business for them. Would he fit at Palace? I'm not 100% sure, because he'd never actually played in a forward role in that sense. So it would have been a risk. He was a left winger at Hull. Jezon Raksaki could be moving to Hull on loan. They've got a decent squad, and hopefully they'll be going for the playoffs with a new manager after they sack Rossignol. I think that would be the best kind of team for him. As long as they play him in his normal position, he gets regular minutes, and they are vying for promotion. I think that will hopefully make him ready for the season after in the PL. Finally, going to talk about Matthias Sule. So it looks like Leicester might be taking him for about 25 to 30 million euros on a deal about 40k a week. A lot of people on Twitter have said that they would like to have him. I've had a quick look at his stats and his heat map. Stats were obviously very decent for a mid-table Serie A team last season, Frosinone. However, I do think his heat map does suggest that maybe we weren't necessarily after him. If you look at his heat map, it does suggest that he's a bit more of a winger, to be honest, than a forward. Which, unlike Elise and Eze, they had experience at Reading and QPR. I haven't watched Frosinone in depth, so I can't tell you the exact role that he was given there. But he is a talented player, so it is a shame that maybe we didn't go for him. But it said, just my gut feeling, having a look at that heat map, maybe we weren't necessarily in for him just because he seems like more of a wide player. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Transfer Weekly.
How's it going, folks? Nate here, Eagle-Eyed Football, and I'm here very quickly to talk about 4 players that have been offered deals at the academy. So Jeremiah Umolu, Rio Cardines, Matteo Dashi, and Joe Gibbard have all signed professional deals with Crystal Palace. To briefly touch on Jeremiah Umolu, he was a player that came on trial, having been, I believe, released by West Ham United. I think they were his last team before he came to Palace. He signed a pro deal. Rio Cardines has signed a pro deal, as has Matteo Dashi, who's a very exciting player that there's a bit of buzz around, and so has Joe Gibbard. So there's 4 players that have signed new deals at the academy. And just very quickly, before I move on to my next topic, it looks like Palace will probably try and prioritise maybe trying to develop 1 or 2 more players to break into Oliver Glasner's first team, or even better, probably get a few more out on loan to join the likes of the recently released John Kamani Gordon, who of course has subsequently gone on to sign for another club after being released by Crystal Palace. So there's every chance that a few more could be making the jump out on loan. Now, I don't have much time here, so I'm going to very quickly move on to the next bit of news in relation to what I have to report on, and that's Crystal Palace goalkeeper Owen Goodman looks set to make a loan switch across South London to AFC Wimbledon for a season. Now, I haven't seen anything to indicate that it's a full season loan or a half season loan, but loans in the summer tend to be season-long loans, so he'll probably be making the short trip across South London to SW19 to play for the League 2 club at Plough Lane. Owen Goodman had a very good stint at Colchester United. He had a fair few games where he was fairly poor, but look, he's a young player that there's a lot of hype around, so maybe himself and Joe Whitworth can, in the future, either push for a first-team place or they're sold on for profit in the future. But if there's any more news, you'll be sure to hear it here on Eagle-Eyed Football. Thanks for watching.
Okay, that brings up the updates. I mean, I guess we'll discuss Sule a bit later after we've obviously got into the main boat, because I want to have a discussion about Edwards and Sule, you know, because obviously those seem to be the two. Noose has gone very quiet. Don't know why, but we'll obviously have a discussion about that. But Spiritual makes a comment here saying Amula looks a decent player. He begged a brace against Dulwich Hamlet, I believe, the other day as well. So, you know, and it's also good to see Jesse Derry and Zach Marsh back in action after their lengthy injuries as well. And if Guehi leaves, would you take? I think he'll be a great replacement, to be honest. You know, and we're gonna have to not only rely on just Dougie, but also rely on Glasner's like his transfer list as well. I'm sure he knows a catalogue of players that would love to play under him again. So it's just obviously finding that right balance of what do you call it, whether they will start or whether they will be squad depth, and hopefully we can get the right balance in that. But right, Dan, the moment you have to shoot off, feel free, don't fall away and stuff. But yeah, let's get into it now. Let me see if I've got. No, I don't actually have it. But it was Record have reported that, and it's a Portuguese outlet, that Marcus Edwards, a bid has been put down of 15 million euros, I believe it is, which is about 12.5 million pounds. Which to me it seems like a lowball figure. It might just be one of those we're just testing the waters. Sporting have said that they want anything between, I believe it's 20 and 30. And it's mainly because Spurs have a 35% sell-on fee.
Yeah.
In their clause. 35% is a lot.
Yeah.
So obviously,
crazy.
So let's just hypothetically say it was the 50 million euros. 35% of that, you're looking about 3 to 4 mil. So yeah, Sporting will get next to nothing. Yeah, you're looking at about 4 mil because Sporting will get next to nothing in that deal. So obviously they're going to want to drive the value up. Surprisingly, it seems like they want him gone as well, which is another thing. I don't know if he's homesick or I don't know what it is. But let's get into the player. 25 years old, right winger, played for Sporting Lisbon. He did play for Vitória Guimarães, I believe how you pronounce it. Vitória. Prior to that, and obviously he was a product of Spurs Academy. Now, obviously, as you look at, I've got a few images here. Here's his heat map on a day-to-day basis. He does hug that right-hand side a lot, but he's not a type of player who will stick to the byline. He's more than happy to do both. He will go byline or he will cut inside, and he picks up a lot of pockets of space in the half spaces that Aston likes, and his first aim is to obviously receive the ball and drive at the back line, which is definitely a positive. He's rapid. The guy's quick, and he's got a very low center of gravity. I believe he's like 5'6", so he's got a very low center of gravity. He's definitely quick. You may question his output. I think that's reasonably fair to question his numbers and his output, especially playing in the Portuguese league and obviously playing for a club like Sporting Lisbon, But then at the same time, we were questioning Mateta's output at one stage, and Glasner did a madness. So it's neither here or there with that.
I think his output certainly suggests that, as a winger, he is definitely capable of sending in the crosses. But also, I believe I read somewhere, because I was looking into this myself, he holds the record for the most goals by an English player in the Premier Liga. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure, but I did see that somewhere that he holds the most goals by an English player. But then again, not a lot of English players have actually broken into the Portuguese league. It is very much like a loan basis, and he spent 2 seasons out on loan from Spurs. He made no appearances for his parent club. Obviously, moving to Vitória and then to Sporting. I reckon he is probably the replacement for Elise. Should we sign him? Because of the outlet that he can provide the crosses that Mateta can get the head on. It would be a very good deal, I think, but the price tag obviously is going to be the main obstacle to overcome there. No,
absolutely. And there have been rumours that he's in talks with us. But I'm not going to believe anything right now. Because obviously previously it's like I don't think he was ever interested, so it may just be a case where other clubs don't want him. Does he actually want to come back to London? Does he want to go back to Spurs? Because that was reported. So there's a lot to it. We just have to wait and see. But I won't lie. As much as he may not want to come to us, quote unquote, if you're talking about 50 million euros, big man, just be upset. I don't care. 50 million euros. I think I might risk it, even though he's an upset player. That's a very good deal. It's cheap for someone of quality. But let me go a bit more into Edwards in itself. So, strengths and weaknesses. I did get this from so looking at key passes is brilliant. Is very strong. One of his strongest strengths. Crossing, dribbling, passing, and headed attempts, which is interesting for someone so small. His headed attempts is actually quite strong. His weakness, where headed attempts going forward are good, aerial duels defensively are his weak points and stuff. And apparently his defensive contribution is quite poor too. So I don't know if it's a case where he in himself feels I'm too big time to drop back, or he does drop back but just can't do a good job of it, which happens with forward-thinking players, you know. And just quickly on that whole aspect of his passing. Now, I just got these screenshots. I had loads more. I thought, actually, that's going to take forever. So I just focus on one because I wanted to kind of, and I'm not comparing him to Elise, but I was thinking, what type of pass is Elise-esque in a sense? And you can see, I believe that might be Victor Gyökeres that might be running through there. And it ends up behind, and I believe that's Man City, actually. So it ends up actually behind the centre back, and Mateta has been making that run quite a bit.
Yeah,
you know. So if Edwards is going to cut in onto his left foot, he can find that slide rule pass. Even if he doesn't, he's got the option to drive into the space as well, you know, and then maybe have a shot on goal himself. This might actually have been a couple seasons ago. I think I just saw Fernandinho in that image. But it says a lot about him. Stats wise, this is the 22-23 season. Yep. So 33 games or 51 games in total, 12 goals, 14 assists. Last season a bit quieter, 44 with 6 and 9. But then I found this. This was last season in the league. Now, it really shows what a madness Michael did.
Yeah.
You know, bear in mind he was injured. You know, so obviously 4 goals and 4 assists. You think you want a better output, to be honest. Elise with obviously 10 and 6. But then shots per 90, Michael's taken more shots. Key passes though, per 90 is Edwards. You know, and then successful take-ons per 90 is Michael. Michael's 1v1 ability is incredible. But those key passes, I did see, and once again, they're comps. This guy creates chances. His teammates can't finish. His teammates can't finish.
Which is crazy thinking, like, when you think about Gyökeres and the way that he's been hyped up for Sporting.
I think he's the only one that has done, to be fair.
Yeah, he
but
is.
If it's not Gyökeres, like,
Gyökeres is
he's
different.
He's been laying things on the plate, and I mean, that's been driving down the line, whipping balls into the box, crosses in, and I think the positions that Mateta was taking up last season, Edwards will be brilliant for his game. You know, so it's something to think about. Like I said, that price, all in for that 15 million euros. That's 12.5 million pounds. That's incredible. You know, and it's just something I think we just have to consider. I don't know your thoughts.
I agree totally. I think that's pretty good value if it does come off. Right, I'm gonna go, guys. So I'll enjoy the rest of the stream, and I'll see you soon. I'm not gonna end it.
Take care, man.
Get rid of the tab.
No, I've made the same mistake before using the phone. It's crazy. Ooh, waiting patiently.
There we go.
We're good.
We're still live. We're still live. Just coming here from Spiritual about the heat map. That's a heat map. Where's the heat?
I think that's more of a positional map as opposed to a heat map, I would say.
Just Luke saying, ain't gotta go. Big up, Luke. Thank you for joining us. Evening, day. Spiritual saying, but he says that Palace can do better than Edwards.
We're going to go into that discussion, yeah.
Jordan Ayew's better than this guy. That's crazy. And big up JC, obviously, away. Big up yourself. But yeah, Edwards, I think, is probably a decent shout, but I think Sporting are going to haggle over the price. That price they're going to want a lot more because, as you said, that is a massive sell-on clause, 35%. But then again, we're seeing that a lot in the transfers that have been made across
Yeah.
the world. More recent days, like you take perfect example is Joshua Zirkzee, because obviously the massive sell-on clause that Bayern Munich had with him, and now he's made that move to Man United, and what was it, 50%?
It's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Ooh, the duality of man.
Yes.
Caleb saying here that ASR is better than Soro, and JC says Soro's better than ASR. That's a nice little debate that we can have a bit later on as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, Nicky.
Go for it.
Would you take Edwards at 15 million euros
Mm.
or Sule at 25 million euros?
Ooh. Ooh, wow.
So I've intentionally made it that it's not too much of a big financial gap. I mean, to be fair, 10 million could for us is quite big, but
I would probably say probably because we need the rest of the budget. I'm going to take Marcus Edwards just because one, there's not a lot of clubs that are actually linked with him, so it could be like a quick done deal. Bosh, get it in. Sule's obviously linked with Leicester. That's a big worry for me. Because that's just a bidding war that's just going to go on and on and on, and but we don't need things dragged
I
out.
think Roma are reportedly interested as well.
There we go. We don't need players that are just going to be dragging out bidding wars. We need players in now because preseason is literally around the corner. We're going to need players in to get them into the system and let them learn from both the manager, the coach and staff, and from the players. Yeah, Edwards for me.
What's the most you'd spend on Sule?
I would think 25 million. 25 million, I think, is fair. But then again,
Pounds or euros?
It would have to be pounds, I think. I think just because the way that the the transfer market works out, with pounds to euros and everything, it's very, very murky because you can never you see a price tag put on a player and then you just think, oh yeah, 25 million, what a steal. But then you think, no, it's not really. Just because of that little transfer rate.
No, absolutely. Speaking on like selling clauses, it's 50%. Oh, from okay. So that's probably why Bologna are haggling for a bit more money because they'll get next to. Oh, they're losing half of that. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Spiritual saying Sule and JC saying at this point, I trust our game Glasner so much. Yeah, we did mention this earlier.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much whoever Glasner wants, get him.
I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I am so confident in trusting the process for the very first time because this is Dougie and Glasner working together, not Hodgson just being like, okay, whatever.
No, this is
I'm not going to play these players anyway. I'm just going to sit them on the bench until I break a player because the medical team tell me one thing and I ignore the other. But yeah,
absolutely. Nick, you could have reminded me. There were a few updates that we forgot to discuss.
Why is it my fault? Hang on, what?
But I said you could have reminded. I didn't say it's your fault. I said you could have reminded me. But yes, women's contracts. I'll leave that over to you.
Yes. So women's contracts. So we have 3 bits of news coming from the women's team. That being that we first have, as I bring it up on my notes because it's just a mess. We've got Fliss Gibbons and Elise Hughes signing brand new contracts for the upcoming women's season. Now, of course, the women's the women's side had an amazing season, winning the championship and getting promoted for the very first time into the Women's Super League. And we have Fliss Gibbons, who had a league-leading number of assists for the women's side, leading us up into the top division with 8 assists in 24 appearances for the women's side. And of course, Elise Hughes. What more can we say about Elise Hughes? A massive, massive addition to the squad. And she has signed a 2-year deal with an option for a third. So that is incredible news for us. She scored 7 goals back in 2022 in just 25 games. But of course, she had that devastating ACL injury in the penultimate game of this season just gone. But some great news. Surgery was a success and she's already started rehab. Already. Just think about it. It's only been a few months.
Yeah,
Barely
that's
even
great
2
news.
since the end of the season, and that's going to be absolutely incredible. She scored an astonishing 23 goals in 27 appearances and got the championship golden boot. And yeah, this is going to be an incredible season for the women's side. But unfortunately, there is a bit of bad news. Annabelle Johnson has decided to call time on her wonderful career. So it is time to hang up the boots for AJ. So we've both teams now know the pain of losing a player of AJ. Bit sad, but we wish her all the very, very best. She did an amazing job in red and blue, and yeah, nothing more to say on that except enjoy your retirement, Annabelle.
Absolutely. There are rumors circulating that she's looking to get into coaching. So
Yes, so
all
hopefully,
the best.
maybe.
Maybe
There's
she's
the
still
win.
part of the setup. 100%. Final bit of updates before we talk Odsonne Edouard.
Yes.
There has been a bid rejected for Emil Smith Rowe. Now, granted, it has been made clear that Emil Smith Rowe is literally there to be squad depth. He's got no guarantee of a starting berth at Palace. So he potentially himself might have said, nope, I'm not interested in the deal, in the move, because he has said he wants to fight for his place at Arsenal as well. They haven't given us a figure, but I'm worried about his injury concerns. Like, once again, there's other players I'm thinking, yeah, we can go a different direction with this because, especially with his injuries, I think Arsenal want, what, 30 mil? I'm just like, yeah.
This is what I mean. Arsenal's haggling ability is literally it's not. I don't think it's a case of delusion, but it's near enough the word that I want to choose, because look how much they were asking for Nketiah, and his output nowhere near came close to what they were asking Palace for.
Listen, you've got to say they haggle, and look, Balogun went left last season for like 35.
That's true. That's true.
Add-ons. Balogun, who played like 4 league games.
Yeah. With Smith Rowe, obviously he wants to fight for his place at Arsenal, but in the position that he plays, Saka plays that position, and Saka goes 90 plus minutes, game after game after game, week in, week out. So Arteta doesn't really, I think it's a case of Arteta doesn't really trust him, because you would think that, say, Arsenal are like 2-3 goals up in a game, 70 minutes in, and Saka's done what he usually does. You would think that the manager would take him off and put in Smith Rowe for a bit of game time, bit of development. But no, Saka goes the whole distance with the games, and Smith Rowe just sits there. I think the other club linked in is Fulham. It's probably going to go to Fulham, because they just keep getting players in that need chances. They get their chances at Fulham, and then they go on for bigger and better moves, or they stick around at Fulham and make themselves known at Fulham. So I think probably it's a swap from North to West London for Smith Rowe. But then again, they've had their bid rejected as well. So it could very well be turned into a haggling war from one London club to 2.
Look, I'm not mad if we miss out on Smith Rowe, because, to be honest,
Neither
when
am
you
I.
look at what we've got, unless Glasner sees France as a right-sided player, we still got Ebbs. Granted, he may go. Kamada, França. Those are the three at the minute.
Mm.
If we're looking at next season. Obviously, the fringe players are then Ayew and Schlupp in those two positions as well, but they're fringe players. So if we lose Ebbs, I'm assuming we would want two in, and then it'll still be Kamada, França, and the two new signings. So those four for the two places, it's not the worst case scenario. We just have to make sure it's the right players.
I think in an ideal world, we could say if we do get Smith Rowe, the only way I think I would feel very, very comfortable about it is if it was a loan, because we've not loaned in a player in a long, long time. A fair while, actually, the last time I remember. So it would just, give us a bit of security, and it would also grant, us a bit of breathing room.
No, absolutely. Just a few more comments before we get you to talk on Edouard. Mitch saying here, I hope we'll see some more big women's team signings needed to survive. Absolutely, because that division's mad. That division's mad. And if you didn't know, guys, Nikki's going to be looking to run a weekly segment which covers the academy and the women's teams throughout the whole of next season. So it effectively replaces the Premier League review show. I think we should keep this Palace related, and we want to bring out more WSL stuff, more academy stuff, trying to get on top of that as well. And it's obviously the WSL sometimes have midweek live games. If we can cover that, we'll do that too. So watch this space. Pat's asking when your roast is. Wait, you haven't had one, have you? Yeah, buddy. Right, we need to sort that out.
Me and Dan still waiting.
Yep. To be fair, the Euros is done, so we've got content.
We've got a bit of time now.
We'll get content. We'll get sorted. Hi guys. Hope you're good. Hope you're good too, Wayne. Got a question. What do you think of having Sule? Honestly, I would love Sule. I don't think that Sprilla one's gathering any sort of weight or anything, unless it's one of those behind the doors quiet ones that we do on the slide. But Sule, yes, please. Yeah, I think he's good. But if the money that I asked him for isn't right, then I don't want us to overspend. I'm even thinking, is the Leicester bid actually true, or are they trying to drive a bidding war? I'm hearing Roma are linked as well, which means he may want to stay in Italy. Plus, I believe they might have got European football too. Not too sure. So there's factors, but I know we're interested. I don't know if we've actually made any concrete bids yet. Big up, Kenny. We're doing good. Like I did mention it earlier because I saw your comment from the start. But did you see Elise's goals for France in the Olympics? Hope you enjoyed them. We're gonna miss him. We're gonna miss him. Big up, Ed. Big up to Rich T, Nikki, and congrats on them. Well, you got married.
Check his comment below.
Oh, they go. Okay, fair
enough. There you go. I
was thinking, Nikki, this is something you didn't tell me. Ed saying I'd like ESR loan with an option to rate his fitness.
I think that it would definitely give us, both clubs and player, a sense of security, just in case, like, if he impresses for us. Oh, Arsenal might.
But then where do we rank him in the list? Because once again, you got Nusa, you got Sule, you got Esprilla,
he's
Edwards. Where do you put them? Where do you put Smith Rowe in that list?
Very, very low.
Kelly saying that he's most likely going Roma. I wouldn't mind that. If Sule decides, if he goes to a Premier League club and we haven't put a bid in, I'll be annoyed. I'll be very annoyed. Don't know any women in the Palace team, but I'm looking forward to knowing them next season. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's harsh. That is harsh. Sordos goes, even though it was against EA generated plays, but those were pretty awesome regardless. Yeah. Look, I don't care if it's against like Taiwan or whatever. The quality of his second goal to hit that on the half volley, like you saw Henri's face was just like, bro. Like, it was an incredible finish. Right. Over to you, Nikki. Odsonne Edouard.
Yes, so Odsonne Edouard, who, if you remember back during some of our shorts, we've said will be allowed to leave the club this season. His potential value was put at around about £20 million, which would fetch a high price, obviously. Now, the question is, what clubs are linked in with him? Now, there was a short while back that said that multiple Premier League clubs and a club in Serie A are potentially interested in obtaining Edouard's signature, but as of yet, we don't know. We don't have any names linked to that club. You could just probably take a guess that there are some clubs. Bologna, it would be my shout. Now, don't take that as gospel truth because obviously there is no genuine link there. But Bologna, who just let go of Xerxes to Manchester United, they'll be looking for a brand new striker. Put two and two together, you make four. As for other Premier League clubs, you look around and you see the types of clubs that do require a striker. You are going to be probably looking in and around the levels of where Palace usually sit themselves in the mid-table, lower mid-table, because Edouard lost his place to. Edouard was number one striker for Palace, and then obviously lost his place to Jean-Philippe Mateta. And Edouard, he cropped up now and again, but Mateta ran the show. It is, as of yet, unclear as to when Edouard will be leaving. Now, with Mateta on international duty with the French Olympic squad, this is probably the time where Edouard will have to stake his case of where he goes, when he goes, and the manner of which. By which I mean the price tag assigned to him, because obviously if he impresses during pre-season with our games that we've got coming up, he will of course go for a higher price if clubs do genuinely want to go in for him. But the thing is that what do we do afterwards? And I mean in terms of Palace, we don't actually have really a third choice striker. We have Jordan Ayew, and he's popped up now and again in strikers when we've needed him to, but we would need a replacement for him. The striker market right now is ridiculous. Like, we're seeing Ipswich sign Liam Delap from Man City for near on 20 plus million. So the striker market is going to be very, very, very diluted right now. But yeah, Odsonne Edouard linked with moves away. But at the moment, if he is to go, we will need a replacement in very, very quickly. But at least we are safe and secure in the knowledge that Mateta is going to be staying at the club for the moment, because not a lot of clubs have looked into him. We've not seen that news. Edouard linked with moves away. Nothing more to say on that one. But £20 million, Rich, would you be okay with 20 million?
Absolutely. Now you make a good point regarding the fact that Mateta's on international duty, because the Olympics I don't believe ends until like a week before the season starts.
Yes. So
Or
Odsonne
something
Edouard
crazy like that.
will. Say if in an ideal world we let go of Edouard, it's going to be a deadline day. It's
It will be
going to
a
be a
late
deadline
one.
because we're going to need our striker. We're going to need a striker in for first few games of the season, because Mateta's obviously. Don't get me wrong, Mateta's probably going to be like, no, I'm here, I'm ready to go, but he does need that, rehab
Needs
time
a bit
to
of
be like
rest,
switch from squad to squad.
This might be the first time we might be like, "Go ahead, France, get yourself knocked out."
All I'm saying is that this is just going on the knowledge that France go all the way to the gold medal match. So you never know. It's knockout football. You can never stake a claim on it. But yeah, if France go straight all the way through, seeing as though it is at home, you'd probably put your money on them, especially with what Elise has been doing, with the service that he can provide, and Henry's tactics look pretty solid. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to need Edouard, I think, in the start of the season.
Absolutely. JC saying here, sorry, that's the wrong one.
Spiritual.
This is JC's ones. So spiritual one, I'll come to you next. Leicester might be one of the clubs. I think even Lazio, who've lost Immobile, I believe he's gone to Fenerbahce. So they could be there. Kalichi. And I've been saying Iheanacho on a free transfer, you know. I've been saying that for a while. Like, he's a free, it just makes sense. Just get him in for depth. You know, just get him in for depth. But we'll see how that pans out. Back to Spiritual's comment. He's saying that he's happy with the squad and proud of what Steve Parish has done. He deserves some credit. He's done an unbelievable job. Yep. And credit to Dougie as well. And you know what? I'm going to even give a bit of credit to Textor. He's identified some talent out there as well. You know, so it has been a collective thing. So credit to all of them. If Eddie was to go, JC would have JP as number 1, Ayew number 2, and Thierry Barry from Bauer as number 3. He's such a raw footballer, Barry. You know, but you can tell he's got a lot of potential there and stuff. Oh, it's Besiktas. Thank you. I thought it was Fenerbahce. No, what's his name with Fenerbahce? Batshuayi went Fenerbahce. The striker market is better this year, to be honest, better than last year. And yeah, the striker market last year, and it didn't help that like Haaland just went for a madness. Yes, I don't. Is this Al Ittihad or Al Nassr? One of the Saudi teams are interested in Edwards, and you know the Saudi lot. Like, if they're involved, then they're saying, "All right, here's 50 million, calm." You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're right. Ed would have to move quick if we are serious about him. I think PSG are loaning out. Really?
That's crazy. But without
it is bad.
Option. Without the option.
Either way, it gives us a year to work with.
True.
Yeah, I'll take him.
I think UK Pat's correcting you there. Batshuayi is at Galatasaray.
Yeah, so I'm wrong. I know they've moved to some sort of Turkish club. So I should fact check this in future. Right. But yeah, to answer your question, I'll take 20 million, 100%. I think we can get a replacement striker in for a decent amount as well.
It's a nice little segue if we move on to our next player. We've just been talking about Turkish clubs.
About Turkey, yeah. This one,
if this goes through, I
don't know how to feel about this.
I know how to feel about it.
So there are reports from various sources that officials are traveling to England to negotiate a deal for Jefferson Lerma, and one of them is Fenerbahce.
I don't want this to happen. He was pretty much, well, we can all safely say he was our player of the season for the season just gone. We have to keep him. This is what JC says. He says keep Lerma at all costs. Look, we said it in WhatsApp chat that Decore is going to need some time. He's coming back from a huge injury that kept him out for the entirety of the season. Going forward, it's going to be Wharton and Lerma in the midfield. We certainly need to keep Lerma because, one, he provides an amazing array of talent in that midfield. He is an absolute engine. He is a key element to us defending and to launching counter-attacks as well. You watch Lerma and you think, how did Bournemouth let him go on a free? So it is absolutely incredible between what Lerma does and what he can provide, that if we let him go, granted we're making a profit, and then but then what are we losing out on?
See, this is where I don't want Lerma to go personally. I don't want him to go. But if a club are going to pay more than 10 million, we might have to ask questions. And I don't want him to go. But more than if you're looking at anything from 15 plus, bear in mind we got him on a free transfer and he's 30. we might have to ask questions. And obviously I know like we walked away from the Aston Frank, who was, I think, in a sense, was going to be the potential replacement if Lerma was to go. But then on the flip side, you could look at it in the sense of if we were to get an Aston Frank in and Mark left, as much as Lerma's not Mark, he could do a decent enough job covering centre back as well. So I think this will end up as a financial decision. Because if the offer's big enough, I think we might just bite the bullet on it, and let him go. And I don't want him to go.
No.
But if I see 15 million plus, he might have to firm it.
But yeah, so I reckon JC's comment here is perfect. We need quality in depth. Lerma's perfect for that. Also, Decore had such a bad injury that I don't think he will start straight away. So Lerma will start for most of the first half of the season. Spot on there. The spiritual saying though, Lerma's at 29. I'm not concerned. Hope we get more than 15 million for him. Big up Niall. Says, don't worry, lads. Motherwell will take good care of Kofi Palmer. Patrick saying,
scored a good header the other day.
Don't be so quick to give Parish credit. At the moment, we've only got 2 in. Unless you want to count Sessegnon, which I don't think we will, because he's not a done deal. He's only just training. You know how the ownership is. And JC is saying again about Lerma. Very, very versatile, can play centre mid, centre defensive mid, centre back, and we need experience that teams have fallen apart with too many young players and not enough that understand the league. And Lerma was at Bournemouth for a number of years and certainly understands the demands of the league.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're going to round it up there. There was one player that I was thinking of just mentioning, but I think we can actually probably go a bit more in depth next week's one, because there are these rumours popping up about Somerville again. So,
God, here we go. He's already smiling about Somerville.
No, I actually not, because I'm hearing it's 40 million. I'm like, nah. Leave it alone. I'm hearing Leeds want 40 million. So, but yeah, I think we'll cover Somerville next week. As much as I'm a fan of his, I'm not a fan of paying 40 million for him. Just no. Yeah, let's final comments and then we'll wrap up. For his experience and versatility, Lerma needs to stay at least one more season. Yeah, I think we would want Lerma to stay. But I'm just saying, if we get a decent offer, we have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And are we concerned that once the Corey comes back, Lerma will be lost down the pecking order? The game's the game. I'm sorry, the game's the game. This is what we want squad depth for. So yeah, and big up James Maltby. I don't know who he's referring to as a nerd, but thanks for tuning in, mate. But yeah, if you've got anything football related to chuck in the comments, James, feel free to do that as well. Anyway, people, appreciate you smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, including you, James. And yeah, have a lovely evening. Look, European international football's done. The Olympics are about to start. Pre-season's about to start. Palace is going to be back, and we can't wait for it, to be honest. So yeah. Apart from that, we get the outro ready. Appreciate you all. Up the Palace.
Up the Palace. Eagles.
Eagles.